I'm definitely not the first person to tell you this. You were probably well aware of this fact long ago, but Pixar and really Disney as a whole, it's not doing too well. The 2020s have been really rough for them, but for Pixar, it's been a really devastating decade, and we're halfway through. Their decline started in the early 2010s, but it hasn't become as clear until now. Basically every movie they've had, with the exception of Inside Out 2, a sequel that's going to become more important later, by the way, the topic of sequels, has been a box office disappointment and critically lukewarm compared to their 2000s work. And now that this has become a chronic problem for them, they seem to be on the verge of, if not already have, just given up. Now, in 2023, I thought this was super clear after they announced that Toy Story 5 was happening. Yes, they're making a fifth one. After two perfect endings, they're making a fifth one. But recently, we got even more news that somehow made their their current trajectory even worse. Last year, we got an announcement of Incredibles 3, which, okay, as a sequel, that makes sense, and then Coco 2, which literally makes no sense whatsoever. If you saw the first movie, that was a perfect ending. Along with this, there's a Cars 4 that's on the cards, which honestly, yeah, I understand that if that's Disney, then yeah, they're definitely doing as many Cars movies as they can. In fact, I'm shocked that they haven't done a Cars 4 earlier if money is now their clear priority. But recently, a development came out that just shows Pixar isn't creatively in the toilet or in the sewer. They're well beyond that. They've gone all the way down to the wastewater center, and there's no seeming like they're coming back whatsoever. A sequel to Ratatouille is being considered. Now, at first, it was announced that, by some sources, it was announced that a Ratatouille 2 was in development. That's not true. They're solely in the process of considering it. But, guys, here's the thing. If you're at a point where you're considering a sequel to Ratatouille, it's over. It's completely over for Pixar. There's no sugarcoating it. Like, this is just, you really can't get much worse than this. Ratatouille is probably Pixar's golden movie creatively, just in terms of the impact of the movie. The movie is perfect in every way. Like, it was a good, nice, independent story. It followed a rat's adventure to becoming a chef. Perfect ending. It was a perfect, simple story that tugged quite well. It's a great mixture, and there's a lot of video essays about how well this movie is, right? It's Pixar at their finest, and they are considering a sequel. If you're at a point where you're thinking of doing a sequel to your finest standalone product, it really shows a huge crisis, because this just gives away two key problems that were kind of obvious, but it's certain now that they don't have any clear solutions to it, which is they're creatively bankrupt. They don't have any confidence any original story is going to take off, which Toy Story 5 kind of proved that, but it also shows they're not confident that without running the safe formula over and over, that they're going to turn profits anymore, which Elio recently came out, and that appears to be a box office disappointment. It looks like it's going to be a flop. It's not even going to break even. So yeah, it shows a really devastating place that they're in right now, and I think it's very clear at this point that I don't think Pixar is coming back at this point. It's really heartbreaking to say. There's a really good part of the TV show The Sopranos that I'll use to compare to this. If you haven't seen it, kind of spoilers, but don't worry, it's not like a big spoiler. There's a character who gets a gambling addiction, Dave, and he really gambles so much to the point where he starts gambling his son's college tuition to make back all the debts he's lost and continue profiting. And once he does that, you can tell there's no hope. He ends up having to sell the store. The mafia kind of takes everything from him. Yeah, Pixar's kind of at the same point right now. If they do end up doing a second Ratatouille, which again, they're considering it, I'm not sure if they're actually going to follow on it, but at this point, it seems to be right where we're headed. I think that we're probably going to start having conversations at some point about if they're even going to exist much longer, because Disney at this point is at a point where their other animation studios are kind of more successful. So they might just get rid of them altogether at some point. It's very possible they do that. I'm not entirely sure if this will happen for the foreseeable future, but I don't know what's stopping Disney at this point, considering they're no longer the big cash cow they used to be outside of sequels, which Disney would very well be happy with just continuing using those IPs under their own brand name. I mean, what's stopping them realistically? It's not like not seeing the Pixar logo is going to have less crowds in theaters. People will probably still go to watch any sequel until they can milk that cash cow dry. And it's not like any of the creative original new movies are going to provide profits that they can be happy with. So, yeah, this is kind of a really dark development for the studio, and I always hope they can turn it around. I hope that of course they that they can come back the same way that a gambler hopes they can come back once they've gambled their entire life savings away. But realistically speaking, it looks like things things are not good for them, and this could be the end game.